Hi, Danny here from Scott Country International. Out tonight with my Pulsar Merger XP50 LRFs and my Pulsar Thermion 2 XP50 Pro LRF on top of the beast. Let's see how good these things really are. Welcome to the Night Vision Show. Hi, Danny from Scott Country International. So, had a good night last night. Was out with the Pulsar Merger XP50 LRFs and the Thermion 2 XP50 Pro LRF on the 243. Really productive night from a hunting perspective. Literally caught up with a couple of foxes. There was a few out there I couldn't get a hold of, but it's been quite barren recently. But the three dog foxes I did manage to catch up with, and one that managed to evade me, which you'll see in a minute. But the kit, obviously, the key thing about this is showing you how good it is and what it does and the benefits of it. So when you look at the Thermion 2 footage, so essentially when I went out, I spotted a fox. He was crossing open ground. It was about 250, 300 metres away. So I set up, and I had no other choice but to call it. I have a habit not calling this time of year, because a lot of the foxes are quite wily and alert, and essentially they don't normally come to the call. I find anyway. So I called, and it turned, and it came in, and it started moving towards me, and I got it into around 90 metres, and had a clean dispatch. But you'll see when the footage it comes in, at 250 you can see exactly what it is when it's crossing, and then when it's coming towards you, you can make out its ears and the way it's moving, and the way the movements is key, obviously, when you're looking at these things, identifying quarry. Just when you can't see it, side on. But no, so he came in, a good clean dispatch for him, and then I moved on round, and then the reason why I don't normally call at this time of year became really relevant. So I'd seen this dog, it was coming across a farm track and into some scrub. So I set up and I watched it, but it was about 170, 180, and he wasn't stopping. But you can see from that footage though, at 170 metres, pitch black, you can see, obviously it's thermal, doesn't matter what time of day it is, but it's that detail, that fox at 170, 180 metres is phenomenal. But I wanted to get him to stop, and so I thought I'd put a squeak in, and I just squeaked once, and you can see the response straight away. It literally stopped, looked, and turned, and basically spun on me, and then ran. And I was at times 4 magnification, so you don't have the fine detail, but you can see, as it's running, that's phenomenal, really, when you think about where we are now with what you can achieve with these thermal scopes. And obviously I've followed him around, he's not stopped all the way, and he just kept on going. So I'll leave him and I'll get him again, probably tomorrow night. And then another one, I turned up through a gateway. He was there, and he was aware something was there. It was quite a dark night. He knew something was right, so he wasn't stopping. And as you can see by his erratic movement, and he wouldn't stop. And I tried calling him, wouldn't stop. So I literally had to take him on the move, which was fine, because he was about 80 metres away. So that was no problem. That was, again, good clean dispatch, and probably helped with the VMAX because they're pretty hot. Yeah, sorry, late night. Basically, I'd been on another farm, and I looked for this dog fox that they'd said I'd seen, and had been on the chickens, and I'd been at the chickens, and I'd gone for several nights and seen nothing. So anyway, I turned up, walked the ground, nothing, stood and waited, turned my back, nothing, and then turned back and he was there. but I think it was silhouetted or whatever behind me, and he saw straight away, and he bolted, and he literally went, off he went from being about 80, 90 metres from me, right the way around, dropped out of sight, and then come up a hedgerow, and he was about 203 metres away. So he felt safe enough, but there was no way I could call him. I couldn't do anything about it. So this is where the scope, these XP50s, that although it's ×2 base mag, but you can step it up. But the clarity of detail, I identified him straight away, zoomed in. Yeah, it gets a little bit pixelated, but I was able to get in and dispatch him at 203 metres. There was no issues there at all, straight down. The mergers themselves, so things that I have been looking at, such as Muntjac. There was a Muntjac, and it was literally, I'd probably say 45, 50 metres into some undergrowth watching us. A friend and I were just coming back from stalking, and literally it was just sat there watching us, which was great because obviously get the mergers out, get onto it, and just let it do its bits. But you can see the clarity in that white heat. It's moving really, and you can see everything about it, and the detail of the actual animal, which comes again to this sub 25 net D, which it really does make the detail stand out. And again, roe deer, looking at a group in a row. Again, opened the gateway, turned around, and literally there's a row about 75 metres from me. But then it transpired there was like 5 or 6 of them, so they're cutting through and running through. And it was lovely to see. But you see with the merge, you've got the detail; it really brings it out. Generally, for stalking, I mean, these are an absolute must. Now, one thing I did see when we were out rabbit shooting on a golf course. There was a fox, which clearly we're leaving on the golf course because that's it's assisting with the rabbits, and essentially it came out, but we a lot of drizzle, so the scopes were getting fogged up, and as it does because that's what happens. You get drizzle rain and stuff, and visibility was pretty poor. So I tried the thermal, see where I was. I was using white heat, and I went from normal through to high into ultra, to see the different variations that you can have when you're viewing, because it gets to change the sensitivity, which is really, really good. What I found best was I literally switched it to black mode, black heat, and as you can see, this fox, that's pretty. I mean, that's pretty impressive considering that fox, is in a hedgerow in claggy, misty rain. You're not seeing that with any kind of IR bits and pieces because you'll just get wide out. It really is second to none with the quality of what you get there. So it went really well. And then I was stalking again, as I mentioned. We were with the Muntjac. I was in a high seat and I was sat looking around, and essentially looking at this wooden block, there was a tree line about 75 metres away, and there was a Muntjac literally in this undergrowth. I could see it clear as day. I could see it through the Thermion 2 on the rifle. But I wasn't going to shoot through the brush at it. But you could literally you could see this Muntjac. And the picture I've got there, as you can see, that cover, that Muntjac is in that cover. So good luck trying to spot that one. And then above it, there were squirrels. Now, I'm looking at that picture, you could see, you're not spotting anything in that tree line. And so, the benefits of having the thermal spotter, looking for small game, vermin, regardless what you're looking for, these things absolutely are worth the money and then some. So that squirrel was about 70 metres away, and it picks up 70 something, but it was further inside the tree line, and the sensor, the LRF, is going to pick up the closest thing to it. Then when I went through the tree line, there was some at about 80 metres inside, and I watched them, and it was quite fun watching them moving around and jumping. And then there was a wooden block. It was 150 metres away, and I'm watching 3 squirrels run up and down a tree at 150 metres inside a wooden block. Now, that for any kind of control or any kind of observation piece or picking stuff up, phenomenal. phenomenal. So so really good. So big things are, the British Shooting Show, we just had it. Northern Shooting Show's coming up. There's events on. These mergers are absolutely, anyone that's field sports, hunting, vermin control, observation, just doing a stock, wants to know what's on the ground. These things are absolutely the business. Okay, and the benefits over monocular are you don't get any kind of blindness, disorientation. You take them down and you're good to go. And the Thermion 2 XP50 Pro LRF, for me, what I love about that ×2 up to 16 base mag is at ×2, I can drop that back. So if I've got a target that's moving, which I had twice, if I've got something that's moving and cutting about, I can literally drop that back down and then watch it and then go in if I need to. But the clarity at ×2 is something else. Anyway, hope you like that. For any deals and all the rest of it, Scott Country International, get on the website, have a look there, and please get to the shows and come and see the kit. This is Danny from Scott Country International, out.